what we're going over today is the H30K event framework. I don't know if you guys, if I told you last week, but I am going to be hosting the largest concealed carry class in Ocala history. So what we're doing is we're going to have, Jim found a venue. We're going to have 130 people in a concealed carry class here in Ocala. And the reason that I'm doing that is really to show you guys the process. I'm going to be recording the invitation. I'm going to be recording every step that I do for the marketing so that I can show you guys exactly line by line how we can fill a class, how we can pack the house, and then give an invitation. And so in the process of creating this event, I have decided that you guys need to learn about events and how you guys can fill events and use those to grow your business. And so what we've decided to do is create the H30 framework for events specifically. And every successful event is going to have these intentionally, I want you to think through the 5 elements that you have: experience, meaning, journey, transformation, and invitation. Experience, meaning, transformation, journey, and invitation. And so experience. The first thing that I want you guys to start planning out when you have an event is what people are going to be experiencing. What are they going to see, feel, hear, taste, and smell from start to finish at your event? I want you to tie your event to something bigger than yourself, bigger than your business, bigger than even your community, something that's just huge: heritage, responsibility, leadership, community, something along those lines. Transformation. I want you to outline where they are when they first get started in your event and where they're going to be. And attendees should have some sort of different transformation experience while they're there at your event. Journey. Okay. I want this experience to be a lot of times the first step, the very first introduction between your business and this customer. So I want you to do your best to get this person through the doors who have never been involved in your business before. Ways we can do that: invite people that are on your email list to invite your friends. No different than you hear at church on Sunday mornings on some occasions. They're all like, hey, we've got Easter Sunday coming. Make sure you invite your friends. We want to do the same thing with our email list and current student base, current people that we're connected with the business. We want them to invite their friends and their family and be that the first journey with you guys. And then invitation. So we have been just repeating over and over and over. We have been on this kick for the last 3 weeks about invitation. Your event is no different. I want you to give an invitation to every participant, whether that's one-on-one before they leave or as a group. I want you to have an invitation prepared and have the ability to give an invitation to people that are showing up. And so the importance of events, why we want to run events: a couple of things. Number one, an event is going to bring marketing, authority, community, and sales all into a short amount of time, right? So you're going to get a surge of new leads when you advertise an event. You're going to get a surge of new people on your email list, a surge of new people talking about your business, a surge of new people sharing on Facebook, following you guys on social media. A lot of people are going to be talking about your local event. And so you're going to have a surge of new email list growth by having this event. You're going to have a surge of new trust because stepping out and doing something in the community where you're inviting people who normally wouldn't come through your doors or normally wouldn't come through your class or normally wouldn't be involved in your business or know you at all. This is going to be a huge impact on your business and a huge impact on your authority in your location. You're going to have a surge of community, a surge of belonging, a surge of camaraderie with people that you're going to be bringing people together who never would have met each other. And these people are going to develop bonds and lifetime. I literally have people that came to events and they ended up getting married down the line. I have people that came to events and became lifelong friends down the line. And if we design an event around camaraderie and belonging and the intentional ability for people to connect, that is going to make a big difference in belonging and obviously a surge of sales. Now, typically, we don't sit down to design an event around the idea of sales. But everything that we do comes from a foundation of meaning first. We're creating an event really to inspire and lead, but sales are an accidental byproduct of doing the right thing. And so we should have some element of being able to monetize the event. An example is when I ran my ads for my open carry event, I spent $1,200 on advertising. Before the day of the event, I earned $6,300 back. And then, of course, the day of the event, I made upwards of $20,000 in revenue with this open carry event. Now, I didn't do it for sales, but sales were an accidental byproduct of doing the right thing. And so for that event, I made at least between a 6 and 8 return on my ad spend. So every time I gave Facebook $1, I had between $6 and $8 back for that full event. And so sales are an accidental byproduct of doing the right thing. So the 5 pillars of a successful event. Number 1, we have to have a clear purpose, a clear outline for exactly what we're trying to accomplish. We want to have the most simple structure as possible. Like, I want you to make your event so simple, like so easy to understand, so easy to set up and plan, simple sells. I want you to have aggressive promotion. I want you to hit this thing hard. When I have an event, and when I had my shooting range and my gun store, I would do every touch point. So if you call my business, the very first thing you hear is, "Thank you for calling Florida Gun Supply. On Saturday, October 18th, we are hosting the XYZ event." I mean, every single touch point, every text message, every email, every class confirmation, I wired in the event to literally every single touch point that a customer had. So if a customer came in from another angle, so let's say that they just registered for a class, they didn't register for the event, they received emails that confirmed the class that they signed up, but also had separate PS and other information about about that event inside that class registration email. So aggressive promotion, every single touch point with your customer from the moment that you decide to have an event to the moment the event is over, you should be aggressively promoting that event. I want you to have smooth logistics, and that goes back to simple structure. The more simple it is, the easier it is to run. And I want you to have a strong closing invitation and a plan for what point of the customer journey that morning, what point does that student get an actual invitation? That needs to be planned out and scripted with you and your staff before the customer gets to that event, before the student gets to the event. So some times to run a big event. I have done big events during slow season, like when we slow down. We are going to get slower in the summer month. It's going to be slower this summer than it was last summer. So we should be planning big events right now for the slow season that's coming. So I want you to identify your slowest 60 to 90 day window and place the event at the center of that window. For me, it was always the beginning of July. And I want you to place all of your marketing towards that date, because not only are you advertising your event, but as a byproduct of advertising your event, you're actually advertising your entire business. You can also run events in response to major events or situations. So one of the events that you'll hear me talk about later on tonight or later on today is I had an active shooter workshop very soon after the Pulse nightclub incident, because people were really on edge about active shooting situations. And so we can respond to major events or situations like new firearm legislation. Right now, Murph, there's a lot going on in Massachusetts, but that's not the only state. So having an event where you are just really going big or going home for the Second Amendment it's a great time, because new legislation is being introduced or passed. If a major Supreme Court ruling happens or a national tragedy, again, we don't monetize tragedies, but with the Pulse nightclub, we had a lot of people die in a public place due to an active shooter. We had a lot of people that wanted to take action to protect themselves from that threat. And so we didn't want to capitalize monetarily on that. But what we do want to do is we want to be the leadership that the community is needing at that time of need. Sudden increase in local crime or high profile defensive gun use cases. I want you to be on the lookout for these types of events so that you can use those events to spawn some momentum with the amount of people that you can reach. A viral news story involving firearms also. These are major things. So when launching something new, your program, it needs this moment, right? Where you're introducing a new beginner course or a certification pathway or a membership program or a high ticket training track. So if you are launching any of those elements, if that is a new program that you're launching, why not launch it in a big way with an event? So you get a whole bunch of people in a room for an event, almost like a grand opening. You launch your new program and get people to sign up for it right then and there. This is the best way to launch a new program. This is what I do a lot of the times when I'm launching new programs digitally, is I'll host a webinar explaining the beginner course or the certification pathway or things like that. And it works way better in person, way better in person. Okay. So when your community engagement is dropping, like when you're feeling that classes aren't as full as they were, your seasonality is starting to slow down, or repeat students are not showing up like they were a month ago, or your social engagement on Facebook slows down, or your energy feels stale, good time to launch a new event. Symbolic anniversary dates, 4th of July, Constitution Day, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, or the 250th anniversary of the United States, which is coming up, right? So when you choose a date, I want you to commit to it. The number one thing that I've seen instructors do over the last 6 years of coaching is that they select a date, they publish it, they go live with it, and then something happens. They find out about another event that might be happening on that day, or something along those lines. Actually, this just happened to me. My open carry event that I had 700 people register for, I didn't find out until 2 weeks of marketing this event that there was an anti-Trump No Kings protest scheduled at the exact same time on the exact same date. And I had to take my own advice, because of course it was tempting to change that, but I took my own advice and I doubled down and I committed to that date. Luckily for us, the protesters actually changed their time for their protest to better accommodate us, which we never would have expected, but I would have still carried out my event, because this is a hard and fast rule, is that if you commit to a date, don't reverse it, because that's going to make you look a little bit less credible, especially with community partners that were counting on that date to be there. They scheduled additional staff or whatever. If you set a date, no matter what happens, don't change that date. And your start date should coincide with your top 3 venues, right? So communicate with the top 3 venues with some dates in mind, and whichever one works out, use that venue, use that date, but have 3 in mind. So also, I want you to take some advice from my incident with the open carry event being scheduled on that protest, and do whatever you can to find and see if there are any protests or events or rallies, marches, festivals, sporting events in your local area, parades, road closures. Find out if those events are taking place on that date. Big mistake that I made by not doing a simple Google search and saying, is there a nationwide protest on the day of my open carry event, right? And then of course, contact the city or county earlier to find out if you need permits. Here's a pro tip. If you are required to do a permit because you're having an event not in your shooting range or not in your location, that's actually a bonus. The harder it is for you to get a permit, and the harder it is for you to have an event at that location, the better it is for you, because the less events happen there. And so your event is going to be one of the unique VIP special exclusive events, because you can't just show up and have an event there. Okay. So I actually prefer it when I am using a venue that requires a permit. And then secure insurance. Just a quick note on that. Locked In Affinity. And if you guys are at home taking notes, Locked In Affinity is who you want to call for insurance. This is also who you deal with when you're getting insurance as a firearm instructor to cover you and the facility you teach at. My insurance for my open carry event, right? I said, look, I'm going to have 300 or 400 people open carrying loaded firearms on location here. There's a protest also. My insurance was $206 for the whole event. So insurance is remarkably affordable for these events, and fairly easy to procure. Okay. And so definitely something that you guys want to go with if you guys are having an event.